Dixon Broadcast Media live, and I'm your host, Charles Dixon. This week, we got something really special to discuss for you. But I am with some fabulous guests on tonight. One being, you guys know that your old homegirl here, Natalie Birdsong. She's holding it down week 3. I got my man Julian Payne. Julian is a celebrity barber from he lives in Los Angeles. Julian he has a long list. He's even been in Eric Benet's video, the one called, what's the name of the song?
When you think of me?
Yeah, when you think of me. Julian is the side guy at the end. You'll see it. But no, Julian's a great guy. Me and Julian have went back for many years. We basically grew up together. Church, family, all types of things. We've been close. Then next to Julian is my boy Adam Ford. Adam is originally from DC as well. Both of these guys are from the DMV, as we call it. And Adam, he relocated to Chicago back in, I would say, the middle of 16.
Yeah.
So yeah, middle of 2016, and he's been making it happen ever since. Adam is just, let me just say, this guy he tries to be like a chameleon, but this guy he's wise. He's let's just say he has a very broad ministerial heart. I'm gonna leave it there. And he's been there, done all of those things. He's great. Then we have Rhonda Jordan. She's the new kid on the block. Rhonda is the Chicago socialite. Let me tell you, Rhonda, she knows a little bit of everybody. She knows a little bit of everything. And on tonight, y'all gonna get a load of Rhonda. You don't know what you're in for, but you will see. This is gonna be a great show. So our topic tonight is going to be dealing with something kind of, it's been cliche and been repeated for years. And I'm not going to say it's not without warrant at times, but the title of this show is Let's Talk About Them Dogs. Now, years ago, this isn't nothing new under the sun. For years, men have been acting up for years, doing some dirty, low-down stuff. Now, somewhere along the line, we got labeled dogs. Hey, let's take it a step further. Dogs, let's see, whore, man, ho, all kinds of stuff. Now, I know it's going to take time, but still, we're trying to change the game. We're trying to change our affirmations, because I believe women, you guys may not know this, and this isn't a dig at women, but I believe the history going way back of repeating and affirming that name in the atmosphere has brought us to where we are today in the worst way. And if you think about it, you still may see some guys getting married, but you see fewer and fewer. And what's happening is, like in the older days, you seen men, they're racking up on the concubines. They're not marrying, they're just racking up on their teams. And it's like an auction going on. It's like a draft, like the NBA draft. It's like, hey, I got this stock coming out of Georgia, I got this coming out of Texas. It's crazy. And so nowadays, you're really lucky if you find somebody that has the heart to try to even want to relate like things used to be, or date, or try to fall in love. It's not easy. So I would tell anybody, if you have anybody that's digging for you like that, you can stay there. Because if you've been there, done all that, I'm sure it doesn't work doing it that way.
Right.
It may feel good for a moment, but it don't work.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I'm gonna go to the women first and just kind of ask them, and I don't want to sound rhetorical, but just kind of ask you guys, what kind of got you started with the whole, feeling like you really needed to just label men, rather than just saying, look, before you can say dog, Natalie, you can say that's the guy that can't seem to keep himself at home. You don't have to say dog. You can say, oh, that's the guy I saw at that lady's house yesterday. There's other ways to say it, but you got to say dog. But anyway, so let's start with you, Natalie. Tell me, what is it that you...
You know what, Charles? As I sit here and try not to be offended, first of all, I wouldn't say that collectively as women we have classified all men as dogs. However, that term can be deserving.
Oh, wait, Natalie, pause. 1 quick second. I'm sorry. Everybody that's listening and watching, if you're on Facebook, please like, and share the video. Share it to your friends. Yeah. Share everyone. Let's take 2 seconds to share the video here, so that we can give everybody a chance to listen in. Let's see. we can share this. Let's see. All right. Yes. And also, we will be taking calls on tonight. You can be giving that number.
Sure will. You can call us, share your opinion at 312-754-4333. Again, that is 312-754-4333. We will be taking calls throughout the show. That's the number. Yeah, and share your opinion. We're not the only ones that have thoughts on this. We want to hear from you too. While they're sharing, I'll kind of finish what I was saying. So, you know, I don't think the general sentiment is that all men are dogs, although there are some out there that definitely deserve the label. I'm not sure why the culture has gone where it is now. I'm glad we have some guys on the show today to help us kind of sort through our feelings. But just for the record, my stance is that not all men are dogs, but there are a lot of you that are giving you guys collectively a bad name. Okay. So, I don't know. I'd like to actually hear from one or both of the guys that we have here today, kind of their viewpoints on relationships, why they're getting in them, or how come they're avoiding them.
You first. We're gonna follow.
Don't everybody speak at once.
So the first question was, the first one was, are we avoiding it or?
No, not necessarily avoiding it. I just feel like it, just like Charles has started out saying, that, you know, less and less people seem to be getting into committed, loving relationships. And do you have any viewpoints on why that may be?
Yeah,
especially from a guy perspective.
For me, you know, just strategically sharing, I've been in, you know, several committed relationships, and I kind of see it going both ways. Like, I just think it's about, you know, growth where that person is and a point in their life, like with their experience. I always tell, you know, my friends, being a barber, I talk to a lot of men, and I always kind of reflect back on how they grew up, whether they grew up in a two-parent household or a single-parent household, what their vision and experience was in terms of relationships. Unfortunately, love is never really taught beyond, you know, a mother and, you know, consoling the man. One of my biggest complaints, you know, with women is like, the first thing they may say is like, you know, I'm not your mother. Don't expect me to be like your mother. I was like,
yeah, they still try to act like you.
Right, but I say maybe I say if he has a great relationship with his mom, maybe that's something you should actually garner. Like, take some of that and apply it with your own, you know, loving and caring. And I know for me, I like to be congratulated, you know, words of encouragement to keep me going. That's like super strength to me. So as far as like commitment, I find a lot of guys shying away from it because of, like we were talking about lightly before we got here, it was like social media. Like, they don't feel like they have to, you know, and it's maybe a little bit of some pressure maybe to, they're broadening their search. Like, the world is coming together with social media and things like that, so they have a bigger base, and it's like Walmart for dating. You know what I'm saying? So there's a less of a commitment that you just like, hey, I'm moving on to the next. You know, you giving me problems or whatever next. You know, and we're experiencing that on both ends.
Like a shopping mall of humans.
Absolutely,
basically.
yeah.
Now, here's the flip side though. Rhonda is about that life. See, Rhonda is coming from a perspective of, hey, I get it. You guys have been dogs, but us women can own our own fabric and make our own choices as well. And Rhonda was telling me that at times when she was coming up, the guys would be like, well, dang, Rhonda, you think like a dude. So give us some.
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons why men don't feel the need to commit is because women make it easy. I think that there are so many women who are so thirsty to have a man, so they'll kind of put up with anything.
Right.
So they're willing to be the second, third, or fourth choice. I'm not.
Right.
So that's why I always have had a different perspective about men being dogs, because I think that if you don't allow a man to do something, then they can't do it.
Man, there's always every show exception to the rule. That gotta be so representing the goody two shoes. You know what? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. he don't know this, but for years, like we met over 20 some odd years, we both worked in this law firm together. And when I met him, I knew he was immediately a different type of dude. You know, he was, even though he and I would share humor, laugh, and do all type of things, whenever it came to the female aspect, he would always tease me and be like, dang, man, you always talking to them girls over there. And I'd be like, well, you see them too. But he always kind of took the mature approach and was like, yeah, that's okay, but, you know, I'm trying to get my life together in church. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. But anyway, nonetheless, I watched him down through the years. I watched him get married, and I really said, this guy's really focused. Like, I would look up to him, I'd be like, how did he be so focused? Because he's a decent looking, good looking dude, tall, 6'5". He can go out here and have his pick of the litter, but he chose another avenue. So he's here because not only he's my boy, he got me, but he's here because I wanted women to see that at some time, even though he's not perfect and he got his own shortcomings, but he has really been that guy I can say, like, I've been around him and seen him with a lot of discipline. So I give him my hats off to him for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and let him tell the story.
Gee, thanks for that build up. Oh my
It's
God.
really warm, pretty.
I mean, okay, so here's my thing, and I'm just gonna come from a personal place, and that is the fact that when it comes to commitment, it has to do with your character.
Yeah.
Where is your character at in terms of your character development and your maturity level?
Right.
And that will dictate what you look for or what you're searching for. Because if you're not looking for somebody else to commit to you, then you can't commit to them. At the end of the day, you know, why would I expect you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself?
Right.
And so when I'm looking, if I'm looking for somebody to commit myself to, then I want them to commit to me the same way that I commit to them. I'm like this. I am all the way in.
Right.
I don't know half speed. I've never known half speed. I've never known how to do it halfway. Anything that I do in this life, whether it's my career, whether it's my family, whether it's my relationships, I go all the way. Yeah. And so if I'm gonna go all the way, I'm expecting the person that I'm with to go all the way as well. Right. You know, so, okay, yeah, there are not a couple, but there are more than enough men out there. There are dogs. There are treating women in the wrong way. But there are also just as many men out there who want a serious commitment. Now the question is, do you want what I want? You know, and I believe that comes in terms of that initial conversation that we have when we first meet each other. Are we going to lay all of our cards on the table and say, hey, this is what I want, can you meet my expectation? At that point, you have a decision to make. Are you going to meet that expectation? Or are you going to be able to say, no, I don't have the capacity to be able to do that? And that's just cut and dry. At this day and age, we don't have a whole lot of time to be sitting here playing games with one another. Say what you want. Be honest enough to be honest with yourself and honest with the other person that you're with to be able to say, you know what, maybe I'm not able to handle that. Maybe I'm not ready for the commitment at this point in time.
Right. Wow. Now, that brings me to another point. I think understanding both sides is a very important part. I think a lot of times women go off assumptions of what they think guys need and want. And I think men sometimes think we have women in the bag of what they need and want. From my standpoint, this is what I've noticed over time. If all of you probably can witness this one thing. If you've ever seen a couple, it could be a married couple, it could be a relationship for many years, the minute you see them have a blow up, like a real bad breakup, the first thing the woman does, especially if the guy was in the wrong, she goes to naming all the things she's done for him. Oh, you gonna do this to me and I'm paying your car note? You on my credit? You this, and she gonna break them all, tear them all down right then and there, and he gonna be left to shambles.
She messed up.
Now, the point to that, this is the point I'm adding to that. This is something that women, y'all get your pen for this one, I'm gonna give you a treat on this one.
Okay.
This is what women don't understand. What men are indeed looking for and really need, there's probably some women that probably will get this, but women measure their worth to a man by their deeds, by the deeds they do and perform for him. Like, you know, I'm this kind of woman, I got your back, I'm doing this, that, and the other. That's fine, that's great. You know, okay, making me different times of breakfast and washing clothes, okay, all those are good things. But they're not really things that men need. What men are really looking for, in church, out of church, men are simply looking for a woman that can carry the weight of either their cause or their call. Because at the end of the day, all men have one or the other. a cause or call.
Okay.
And so that means as we go on into our life, somebody may be an activist, somebody may be an NFL player, somebody may be a preacher, and what all those men want is a woman that's not going to cause their life grief as they pursue this cause or call. Now you think about it, that can make or break any man's life. Let's just say if a guy could be an NFL player, but he's a generally good, faithful guy.
Mhm.
But because if he chose the wrong wife, he will all of a sudden see she gonna stress him out from game to game. He gonna probably want to quit the team because she's like, oh, so this week you in Pittsburgh, next week you in Dallas. I got you. I'm coming to the
Can't keep a
hotel.
job.
All that.
Right.
So that could make a man's
Can't
life
keep $1 million
miserable.
job.
So I think if women concentrated more simply on assessing themselves, and instead of trying to get into his pockets and see what kind of benefits he has, say to yourself, do I think I can shoulder this man in action or not?
Okay.
You know, and that'll help save a lot of trouble. And because another piece of it is this: women don't understand this. Most men are only as successful as the women in their ear. See, a lot of people don't understand that when men will go out here and think about it, we get real vulnerable on that pillow.
Yeah.
You know, behind the door, in the car in the morning, driving to work, we telling you, oh baby, look, this is this, I got this opportunity. If it's a job, we telling you. If it's some kind of opportunity, we telling the woman. And at that point, the woman is positioned to shift
Very
his
much
path.
so, very
She
much
can
so.
she can even be a woman that's she can be a woman that can hear and that's really she's conscious, so to speak, and she'll put him on the right path, or she can tell him something that can derail his entire
She's in a
life.
privileged- a very
So that's why
privileged
it's
position.
important. People need to take that much more serious when you are choosing people.
Yeah.
And people, you know, I'm just gonna say this. I know a lot of people, probably over time and years, have been angry with me because they probably feel like I move like the turtle. And don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna try to, for at least one bit, act like I've been, let's see, Santa Claus or the great man. You know, I've been this great man. I mean, I know I've acted a plum fool down through the years. However,
Own it.
but here's see, both of them. But see, here's the rhyme of my reason. In a weird way, the method to my madness was I knew in the back of my mind that I knew what I had in me, and I knew what the callings I had. I may not have expressed them. So I moved slowly because I wasn't anxious to pick. I wanted my you know, I was a man, so yes, I'm lonely. I was desiring somebody,
Okay.
but I knew that once you chose this person to be in your life with you, that's, you know, this is your partner, especially if you're doing it to win. You're not doing it to quit. Because I saw both of my parents together till my mom passed. I didn't see divorce. I didn't see that. So in my mind, I see it as let's do it to win. And so to do that and to pick the wrong person is just deadly. It's unhealthy for your life. And some people don't even recover from it.
Yeah.
Divorce is a hard thing. And I've seen many of my friends go through it. And I feel for them because it's not an easy thing to get back up from and keep moving. So on that note, we're going to take a quick break. And then we're going to come back to Rhonda. You got a point, right, Rhonda?
Yeah, I got a question.
So, again, this is Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. I'm your host, Charles Dixon, and we will be right back. Yes.
Okay.
And so, everybody got the Christmas shopping going?
I'm getting on Amazon. That's all
Oh.
I'm doing. I'm so
I
sure
was
right now. I'm
just
getting on
thought about
Amazon.
it.
I already got my
You
stuff
did?
listed out. You know exactly what I'm doing.
I thought
Gift
about it. I
card,
thought
gift
it through.
card.
Right.
The gift card.
Right.
Mhm. That's exactly what I'm doing.
And then they deliver it so quick.
Oh yeah.
That I can't
You
do
ain't doing
that.
that? What you doing?
Like,
I'm doing Amazon.
So you doing Amazon? Okay, yeah. I ain't going to
That's
the
why
store.
Amazon has blown
My
up.
son
Right.
was like 6, I took
Because
care of
we-
the girl.
Yeah, and they got thousands of jobs.
I need to get some
They
Christmas
opened up a
shirts
new
on Amazon, yeah. Yeah.
I know I'm having a breakdown over here.
You having a breakdown? You alright? You okay?
I'm fine. I'm fine. But you know what?
Hmm.
Y'all not gonna do is paint this old pretty picture like men are really out here searching.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
Y'all
oh,
right now, real bad. Like,
Let's
I'm
get into it.
situated.
Let's
Knock
get
it off.
into it. Let's get
Knock
into
it
Yeah, I'm
off.
like a
Let's get
little
into it.
confused.
Let's get
Are you over
into
there
it.
confused
Yeah, I'm a
too?
little confused.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm gonna tell it. I don't care. Let's get into it. What else? This is the
Spade,
time when you
spade.
think of your points. This is the time when you use to think of your points that you want to point out and add. If you got something in particular that you want to say or think about,
Why my nipples keep sliding off the back of my head? It's so stupid.
Hey, so when you guys talk, make sure you, like when one of you all talk, make sure you get grab the mic to listen to one of you guys. So you can hear it.
You can't hear me?
Huh?
Even though I'm loud?
Well, when you were talking a couple of times, I wasn't sure if it was picking up all the way through. All right, we are back. Unique Perspective Loves Talk Radio. And, all right, we are back. Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. And I believe we left off, Rhonda was about to add something juicy. Go ahead.
I just have a question, because you were saying that men, what did you say men want most? They want
I
someone
said men
to
really are concerned with finding the person who can support the some weight of their cause or calling.
Yeah, so what has me confused about that are songs like Drop It Like It's Hot and Back That Thing Up and like all the fake booties. And so I think that you're sending mixed messages because women think that you want something else and not that, not support.
Now remember what you said at the beginning of the show, men do what they're allowed to do. Trust and believe, those video men saying back it up, this, that, and other, they got a main girl at home. Trust that they
Missy
do.
Elliott, you know.
They have a main woman somewhere.
Yeah,
it's just that, but
I'm
when
trying
it's
to
on
think
the,
if I should drop it like it's hot or support your dreams.
okay. So here's the thing. That's gonna come from what you really want for yourself and how you want that man to see you. You know, if you want him to see you as that support, then you have to govern yourself accordingly. If not, he's gonna see you as the drop it as it's hot, like it's hot, and he's gonna continue. You're gonna proceed forward and do what most.
But it is possible for a man that wants you to drop it like it's hot and pursue his dreams.
Right.
Yeah, but that's
Support his
that's
dreams.
yeah, of course. But that's in perspective, and with you knowing it's just you and him, and you having that trust there, correct? Yeah, I mean, I think if you knew it was a random dude and he really wasn't giving you that, you wouldn't do all that, correct?
Correct.
All right, so I think we got some people in the comments. So, if you guys would like to call in, you can do so, 312-754-4333. That's 312-754-4333. If you have some questions, if you want to ask any of us anything, or if I pissed you off, y'all can just call in. And we can go from there.
So, you know, I wanna, just to play like devil's advocate, right? So,
Okay.
I know that you're saying that guys want, I'm having a malfunction, I'm sorry. I know you're saying that guys just want you to genuinely support their dream, and I get that, I believe that. But I feel like we're in a very selfish society where people are constantly speaking to what they're trying to do and what they're worried about. Right now, I'm just worried about my paper, I ain't thinking about nothing else. So I just kind of feel like it does send mixed messages,
Right.
because you don't know whether or not this person genuinely wants you to get behind them, or if they are just happy pursuing their goals and dreams by themselves. Because honestly, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had where the person is telling me 1,000 things about what they're trying to do, not knowing that if you add the right woman to your life, those things manifest and become a lot easier to accomplish.
Okay.
So I guess the biggest question is do you guys feel like we're in such a selfish place in society that you don't know a good thing when it's in your face? You don't know when you have someone that can add to your life because you're busy doing you.
Go ahead, Julie, you want to take it?
Yeah, I think that part of the issue is not knowing exactly what we're looking for at that point. I think we're you know, they say the place to grow is like the place in the room is the biggest place to grow, whatever.
Right.
And I think because of timing and age and how many interactions you may have with relationships, some things may be able to change, and sometimes no one's really able to pivot, you know, in love. Like you said, you go through, you see so many things, and you're not really able to adjust as quickly. So the thing with marriage and relationships, the world is moving a lot faster than the core values of relationships. We're still looking at our parents.
Right.
You know, technology is way past the parents. Like I listen to my mom talking like, Mom, nah, press, go right. Like listen to the GPS. You know what I'm saying? Listen to it, turn on speaker, you know what I'm saying? And that's how relationships are. It's like the communication level that we need to be at has to be readjusted, I think, and especially when it regards to men and women, how they cognitively think of themselves and how do I view this woman that I'm looking at, like what is my core values? And I'm saying, like, in order to get the right answer, you must ask the right question. And being scared to ask the right question, being afraid of how that person is going to react, how that person is going to emotionally respond, because they may be like, I don't want to piss them off, or I don't want her to just trip. Like, how do I tell her only make $20,000 this year? You know what I'm saying? Nah, look, man, go back up, get in this relationship right now because you ain't ready, homie. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to tell a woman that, like, you know what, I'm not really ready for a relationship financially because it takes money. She might be like, it's okay, like, you good, I got you. And she may feel like, I'm always in these situations, girl, like, I find these good men that really don't have a financial, and it takes preparation. How are you gonna actually merge two companies together? And this is my perspective.
I swear.
And you're not fiscally ready to do so. To hold your end of the bargain. You know what I'm saying? So I look at relationships like corporations. You got A and B and y'all trying to make C. You know what I'm saying? And how can you merge those two in order to, like, you gotta look at the books, you gotta look at finance, you gotta look at credit, how much debt are you bringing to the table? How do you manage your employees, whether it be your kids that you bring into the table, whether it be your mom, or what comes with you as a company? You know what I'm saying? Like, what really comes with you? Let's get a scope of that. What's your 10-year plan? Do it match up my 10-year plan? And how can we stay on the right path of growth? And I think if people really look at it as since people on this money grind right now, look at it as a business decision. Like, because I think love is easy. Love, sex, we already know. We just did that thousands of times. So, that attraction is natural, but really the long haul, I'm in my 40s, I'm gonna be 44 next week. Lord bless me, live and
Well, you stop telling that story.
I had to throw that out a little bit. And for me, it took me some time to really realize, like, I need to ask these questions. You know, because I work hard, I take care of my kids really well, like, they're not one for anything. So I'm to the point to where I don't want to add anything, not to sort of like negative to what I'm doing, but like how hard do I have to work in order to get you to the point to where we can really enjoy each other? Because the kids are going to move on and go about, then it's just me and you. Now we looking at each other with a sour face because things ain't working out. You know what I'm saying? So that's my 2 cents right there.
Let me just introduce a concept here, and that is the fact that, excuse me, a lot of times when we get into relationships, we don't necessarily understand what it's going to take to make that relationship work. And I'll even put it in like this. Do you have the capacity to love me? Do you have the room in your life to really hold me and embrace me as who I am as a person?
What about accepting?
Well, definitely. But here's the thing, though. If you stay with a person long enough, you'll go through enough issues with them that will tell you whether or not, if you have the capacity to embrace them fully as a person. Because a lot of times we get into relationships and we don't understand that if we're not right on the inside in terms of what we're able or capable to do, if we hook up with another person, now we pull them into our mess.
Makes it worse.
It makes it that much more worse. Until we can honestly answer the question, my commitment is so steadfast that I'm willing to do whatever it takes with me to fix myself for you. To adjust myself to the point where I'm willing to make the time for you if our schedules are so diametrically opposed that we're not able to meet at the same time because you work in retail and I work a 9 to 5. So now I have to make an adjustment in my life in terms of my time schedule to make room for you in your life. Do you have the capacity to be able to carry me or I carry you? These are not the questions that we're willing to ask because we're afraid of the truth. I've always said that if I'm going to have a conversation with somebody, I need to be willing to tell them the truth about who I am. Because if I'm not willing to tell you the truth about who I am, then I can't hear your truth about who you are. And so I'm not able to be vulnerable enough to you for you to accept me as the way I am.
And for men, that's a sort
That's
of
a
like
key.
we were talking about. Because
That's
a lot
a
of
key.
times we fear the woman's judgmental response. And a lot of times we're gonna be surprised how much men just wanna come in the house and drop the suitcases at the door and say, this is it. But we run that risk of if we come and say, here's suitcase 1, suitcase 2. You know what? You're not even ready. Go on out there, go be a buster, and that's it. And the guy like, oh, so he's shut down. So
Right.
we have to create this environment where the women are more inviting.
Well, I was
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase
I
that.
despise
Let me
when you
rephrase
go there
that.
with the
What I
women.
meant, I'm sorry. What I meant by that is we have to create an environment amongst both of us,
Here's
so that
the
we
thing.
both are comfortable sharing.
I think relationships, if you really look at a relationship in terms of what it should be, a relationship should be somewhere where you're safe.
Yes.
Where you
I
don't
agree.
feel like if you do something that's out of line, that you're about to get a beating.
Yeah.
I'm about to take my belt off
Wow.
because you did something wrong.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Right?
Where is the security in the relationship? Where is the safe feeling? I ought to feel safe in a relationship. I feel safe in my relationship. I feel like if I were to share with my girlfriend anything that happens in my life, that she would be okay with that. But if you don't create if you don't create a safe environment for that person to be able to freely share who they are, then how do you really get to know who they are?
Well, and I get where you're coming from, Adam, but let's just, and maybe Robin can understand this. So, I agree that there should be an environment where we feel safe and we trust each other enough to share the truths about who we are.
Okay.
But if you walk in the door lying and you pretend to be a person that you're not, then you warp that environment. You make it very difficult to
Okay.
then double back and say, hey, I know I told you I was straight. I know I told you I had my own crib. I know I told you I was successful. But really, I got my mama staying with me.
The Airbnb out this
Shit,
morning.
all right. You know, I think there's a moral responsibility on, I'm gonna say the guy's part, because Charles be going there with me. So I think it's a moral responsibility on the guy's part to come in the door and actually tell the truth. Don't come in the door telling me what you think I wanna hear. Tell me who you really are as a person, and then give me an opportunity to decide if that's something that I'm patient enough to deal with or that I wanna cultivate.
So now since we're going there.
All right,
But yeah,
come on,
we're
let's
gonna
do it. Come on.
Sometimes, again, I don't want to just hear me real good when I say this.
It's gonna make me mad.
Sometimes, you just said men will come to you with the stuff or whatever you call less than the truth. It's no excuse to not bring the truth.
It's
I
never.
agree.
Not in.
However, sometimes our perception of who you are causes us to divvy
Absolutely.
from the past. I'm telling you, think about it. Let's just look at, let's take you.
It is.
Wait, break it
No,
down.
I'm just gonna take you. Let's just take
Yeah,
look
break
at
it
you both of y'all.
I-
So
I
if
get what you're
the
saying.
guys are gonna approach you, they're gonna first say, "Oh, she probably looks like she's gonna need this. She look like she's gonna need some red bottoms, Louis Vuitton, all this is so Chanel." So in his mind, he's saying, "I like her, but I want to miss this opportunity. But I know I can't quite handle her, so I'm gonna
A
take
first date
this
right there
side.
is
I'm gonna take
expensive.
the side B, and he's gonna come with
First date
his
is
game
expensive,
because
like
of what he perceives. It's not your fault,
It is
but
perceived.
because of what he perceives about you, he's gonna come that way.
Yeah.
But then, okay, I can get that. But my problem with that is that if you know in your mind before you approach her that she's probably out of your league, don't approach her.
Well, what's out of your league?
Well, if your life is scattered, like he was saying, if it's
Okay.
not together, if you are struggling to be an adult on a day-to-day basis, don't come for me.
Well, you know why they come? Because contrary to what you just said, a lot of women's lives are scattered
Yeah.
and raggedy
But mine
behind the
isn't,
veil.
though.
I'm just being honest. Behind
That's what I'm
the
saying.
behind the
Women have to
looks,
be honest.
people's situations are messed up and not what they of the same size.
Okay, so
Yeah.
on both ends, I think people have to be honest about who
Right,
they are
right.
and what they present. But I
Right.
think what he said is very true. I don't think we're asking enough critical questions. It's all about the right questions. You know, asking what a 5-year plan is, asking where you are, and it's kind of hard
It's a real interview, I think.
to walk in and be like, hey, what's your credit score? You know, that's kind of
Listen,
rude.
don't listen to good teach you. But anyway, so one part that
But they
Adam
both
brought
have
out.
good
No,
points.
Adam brought out something I had in my notes. And this, I was going to say, because you brought up the point about having that fear to a degree
Yeah.
of some things you do. And I was going to say, men need the discipline effect in women. But it shows us her standard. You know, when
I agree.
most guys will tell you, man, y'all got me out here late. I got to go. You know, Glendy gonna be going off. Now he's not mad about that. He likes it.
Right.
That's why he's announcing it to his friends. But when men find those women that they don't have to give that, like if there's no fear there, oh, they're gonna act a fool. They're gonna run all circles around her because there's no fear.
So then it has to be fear with balance.
That's it. He just has to know, and I don't want to say fear like men are inferior to women. I'm trying to say,
How about respect?
I'm saying
That's
fear,
a
there's a
reverence.
respect and
That's a
reverence for
reverence.
her standards.
Yes, reverence.
And he knows she has a standard, so he's not going to cross that standard.
Right.
That's what I mean.
So I tend to agree, you know, both sides, but there is a big issue with the perception of where women are. Like, I'm sorry, women are about their look. They're about, you know, they about that money. Listen, it's very, I want to see that, but y'all have the opportunity to financially be positioned a lot different than men. We have the weight of first date. Like, we have a financial obligation not to split the bill on the first date.
Right.
And then, like, we gotta pick the restaurant, we gotta do all this stuff. So his first impressions is like,
It's
look,
major.
man, I
It's
got a
hard.
$50,
It's
I
stressful.
got a $50
Oh my
budget.
God.
Like,
I'm not that girl.
You're not
That's
that
why I
girl?
say I bring a different
But that's
perspective.
rare, but
I
that's-
love to pay
but-
for the first
All right,
date.
let's hear you.
I like to pay for the first date. I feel like this. If I ask you, if I say, hey, someone's coming to town, I want to see this concert. I feel like that's putting you in a certain place, right? So I'll pay for that. If I'm asking for the date, if I'm asking to go to the movies, out to dinner, if I ask you, then I'm expecting to pay for it. Because I don't know what your finances are like. I don't know what day you get paid. Maybe the concert will be on the 15th and you don't get paid till the 30th. So I feel like when a man asks a woman to go on a date, it's because he's financially prepared to pay for that date.
Absolutely.
So I kind of get upset
Yeah.
with sisters when they say, hey, I want you to take me to the show, I want you to take me to this concert, and they ask and then expect you to pay for it.
Yeah.
The
So that's my,
inviter has to pick up the
that's
bill.
That's
my
a good
perspective.
No doubt. The person
That's my
that's
perspective.
inviting you say, yo, I
So,
got
see,
it.
she doesn't agree
Yeah,
with
she
me,
don't
but
agree. Go ahead.
that's what I
Let's
said, I'm
get
a
your
different,
point,
I'm
yeah.
not the type of female.
As
Yeah,
my
that's
sister,
good.
as my sister, I completely respect where you coming from, but I just didn't grow up around men that would even let me open my wallet and pay for something like that. So,
you goody two
but
shoes, too.
I'm not goody two
All right.
shoes. You know I'm a
All
thug,
right,
Charles,
yeah.
but I don't know. I think it's
See,
different strokes.
it's all
different
about
folks.
experience.
But I paid
But
for
see,
it.
to me, then there's the double standard, because you have the woman that says, I don't need a man for anything.
Right.
But when it comes to the
Oh, I
date-
need a
But then
man.
I need you to take out my garbage, I need you to change my
Right.
tire,
Oh,
I need you to pick
I
up
love
the
putting that
first
to the
date,
test.
you know?
It's
a double
No,
standard.
I
You don't
need,
need me?
men have a purpose in our lives, we have a purpose in their lives.
But that's
I
like
need
saying
men.
a woman is supposed to wash the dishes and the man is supposed to take out the garbage. I don't
So now
agree
you're
with
talking
that.
about roles.
Yeah,
I'm
What
not-
roles do we feel?
Hold
I've-
that,
I've-
Molly. We gotta take
Oh, we gotta take a break. We gotta take a
break.
break too.
But we shall come back. We're gonna come back and we're gonna dive further into this. But also, don't go nowhere, because when we come back, I'm gonna take a shot at telling some of the men how to remove the dog collar. And
Oh
I'm
my
gonna
God.
tell some of the women
Okay.
how to dog-proof their life. I'm telling you. All right.
Oh,
Go.
God.
All right.
I didn't know you could take it off.
Look at you get stuck.
Okay, so I'm gonna do your Snapchat when you come back.
Cool, cool.
Have you told them about the show? You like, you got to listen out.
Okay.
Too many for me.
All right.
But you are connected to Urban Broadcast Media, so you can watch your feed and the UBM feed at the same time. And you can see all your comments at the same time. I'm still not ready.
Strong ways.
What's up? What's up?
Yeah. In Chicago.
This
in
is
the
Marty
city.
Van
Living it
Drake.
live on radio.
I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Okay, but we need you to pull your mic away from your face.
Are you ready for some exciting WWE action? Well, Urban Broadcast Media is your place to be. Stay tuned for your chance to win tickets to see WWE Monday Night Raw on Christmas or SmackDown Live December 26th at the Allstate Arena in Rosemont. Your opportunity to see John Cena, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, The Shield, Brock Lesnar, and other WWE superstars are moments away. Download the UBM app from Google Play or the Apple App Store for your chance to win. UBM Radio, you never had it so
Don't be
good.
mad.
Promotional
Don't be
consideration
mad.
provided by World Wrestling Entertainment.
Here's one at the,
I'm gonna call.
here's your last one. She said, good points, but a dog is not mature or in tune with himself enough to tell the truth. Only a man that is ready for commitment is ready to do those things. That's from Kimberly Adiva. One of the last comments y'all had.
Welcome back to Unique Perspective Love Talk Radio. And we're going to open up the lines. We want y'all to call in. I know we're not able to get to the comments as much as we want, but if you can call in, please do so. 312-754-4333. That's 312-754-4333. Now, real quick, men, I still hear the music. So real quick, men. Well, I was joking before the break, but I know we've had this, like you said, we've had this stigma attached to us for a long time. Aside from changing our affirmations, some of the things that we can do, and even with me saying that I'm stabbing my own self in the foot, but some of the things we can do to be better and have our quote-unquote invisible collar removed is we can be, number one, more consistent.
Yeah.
Number two, we can spend quality time.
You said that like you didn't like that.
Yeah, I like it. Number three, women like acts of service. Like go over there and shovel her snow without her asking you. If she needs, like if her son can't get picked up from gym, offer to pick them up. Like they want you to anticipate the need. They don't want to have to ask. They want to anticipate that they want you to anticipate whatever the gap is needed to be filled. Do that.
Can I ask them though? Can I ask?
You can ask.
Okay. Because I don't read mine. Sorry.
Well, no, you can ask, but
We like asking too. That's good.
But listen,
Okay.
asking is good, but there are some things as men that you can walk into somebody's house and know when things ain't right, and you can fill the blanks.
Because I don't know. You can't kill me because I don't know.
But why wouldn't you know to take the garbage out?
Right.
No, I'm gonna take the garbage out.
Okay.
I like the garbage to be
Okay,
out.
just
I like the
checking.
garbage
He
out.
just said.
Well, my garbage.
Garbage is something that
I
we
just took mine out
definitely gotta
yesterday.
take out.
So.
Right.
It's a waste paper basket, like the little paper junk, like,
Right.
baby, you got that, you know what I mean? Like, I got that big hefty bag. you know
Right,
what I mean?
and last but not least, women just want straight talk, no loopholes. Like, don't leave room for them to think to the left or the right. Whatever you gonna say what you mean and mean what you say. I think if you do that, that would help loosen the collar off our necks and stuff like that. And women, now, this is for the women.
Oh, Lord.
I know women are genetically made up emotionally, and they need to be validated by way of attention. They do, man. All right. So I'm gonna take a good shot at this, but some of this is gonna be room for divvying because of those two factors. I'm gonna give you a little bit.
It depends on what your love language is.
Okay.
Yeah, it
I'm gonna
does.
tell
That's
you.
true.
It does.
I agree
All
with
right.
that.
So here we go.
Oh, God.
Don't
Get a list.
enable men.
Agreed.
Number one,
Okay.
do not
Agreed.
enable men. I mean, and I know some
I'll
people are saying,
stamp
shut up, man, you messing up my set.
Right.
But no, don't enable men.
I
Number
agree.
one.
Step that.
Because when you do that, you lose the battle. Whenever you step up, I don't care if you're the breadwinner or not. If you enable a man, you're gonna forget it. Number one. Number two, don't sign no agreements with someone that's not your husband.
I'll step that one too, I agree with
Don't
that.
co-sign for his car.
I know that's
Don't
right.
try to fix
Not a
his credit
problem.
with your credit card.
Right.
Not a problem.
Don't put your cell phone,
Yeah.
don't put him on your cell phone playing that number.
Also
Wait a minute
not a
though,
problem.
I'm talking about people that's not married.
Not married, right.
Married people can do whatever, you know, that's your
Right.
arrangement,
Right.
however, I'm talking about people that's not married.
Right.
That don't do that, you know, don't accept propositions that cause you to compromise who you are. Women approach every day
That's a good one.
with people that'll say to you, you can go to the Home Depot being independent, Rhonda, by yourself, and as soon as you go in there, are you looking nice today, Miss Lady? Thank you. So you got a man, well, right now, I'm just in here doing this, and the next thing you go,
In limbo.
next thing you know, yeah, you know, so you need a friend? You know, I could be your friend. That's the worst thing you want to hear in today's world. You don't want to hear no friend, because friend means it's
Friend means
deadly.
something else.
Right.
Friend means access to you. Friend means access without commitment. And that's the worst thing anyone can get from a man is access without, because your access to you, who you are, is everything. So if you let somebody in to that world, you can forget it. And of course, this is the old school. This is old school right here. But it still holds true. And I know, again, somebody gonna stick you in the foot, stick your own self in the foot. But nonetheless, it's true. If you are really concerned with somebody taking from you emotionally, physically, mentally, or whatever, don't have sex. Don't give them. Don't give it to them.
Right.
That's your choice. It's your body. Because people they want to gamble with their body, and it's like a bargaining chip in Las Vegas.
Right.
So I'm going to gamble, but I want you to do this. Don't play those kind of games. You know, if you don't want to be emotionally in your head and go into all this drama, because I really haven't seen a relationship yet outside of marriage that if you enter sex into it, it don't get wacky. Every last one to a degree, and the guy can love the woman, he can want to be with her, but somewhere along the line, here comes insecurity. God forbid you step out of the relationship and cheat, and you might have cheated, but you may not want to leave her alone or be done.
Right.
But so the road back to Damascus is hard. So
I see both sides of that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I see both sides of that. I mean, I have a really good friend of mine, and I won't go into too much detail, but you know, they are living by the book. We know the book that they live by is the Bible.
Right.
And you know, they still have problems. You know what I'm saying?
You mean with dating people?
Just them dating, them
Right.
coexisting, because
Right.
even without sex, I think that there's still an adjustment period. It's like you come from two single people with two different lives, and they're attracted to each other. So you have to exercise your dating muscles or your relationship muscles and really get to know that person, understand that this is an exploration period or courtship. Now, what does courtship mean? That means like, hey, we're in it to see if
This can work.
if this can work.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can't rely on yourself being unexperienced in a relationship. You have to seek wise counsel, like it says in the Bible. Seek wise counsel. That doesn't mean it has to be church, but you have to talk to some people who are in relationships that have been through some things, because and once you involve sex, it's like that's a whole other different thing. It's like
That's a whole different conversation.
That's a whole other thing where you ain't even really talking. You just trying to figure it out just by experience alone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that could go way left or way you know way wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know somebody's appetite. You know what I'm saying? You don't know their appetite. You're like, wait a minute, I ain't want to do that.
No, but, you know, bringing it back to the title of the show is like, you know, let's talk about them dogs. I think like anything, and I don't want to just stick on dogs, because think about it. We have talked about side chick, like our last week's show. We talked about side chicks so much over time. If you notice, now side chicks is a household name.
That's
It's like forefront. You know, once upon a time it was like, oh, that's your little girl on the side, and it was real low key. It was there, but it's low key. But now it's like personalities in it, and people are like wearing that skin like nothing. And I'm not saying it's your choice if you want to do what you want to do, but I'm just saying, I think if we all kind of got on a movement where we just started to stop affirming negative words. No more side chick, no more hoe, no more whore, no more dogs. Over time, if everybody adopted this, you'll notice changes in behavior. Because what happens is once you affirm something, you're giving it power. And once you're giving it power, you're making room for transformation. And that's when people's lives are transforming. And so what you have to do is step back and say, look, if we kill the titles, we kill the behavior. So stop the titles, you steal the behavior. And I mean, people are gonna be who they are. You know, you're not gonna change everybody, but if everybody adopted a positive pattern, I guarantee you in a couple of years, you'll see a lot of difference in how people love each other. I think nowadays we have titled everyone so much that people are walking around with their badges. The guys you think is a dog and a whore. And I've seen people that I was friends with, and I might have said to them, hey, you having a cookout? Yeah, and she'll be like, hey, my boy Rodney wanna know if you got any girlfriends. And I'm like, what you mean, like somebody to hook him up with, right? And so then the first thing they'll say, and this is their good friend, Rodney real cool, but he a whore. So I'm like, why are you trying to set him up? You know what I'm saying? So if you know he like this, stop it. So if you can call him these names, just stop calling people all these names and just be, affirm positive stuff. Say something, try something like, if the guy do you wrong, I know you're gonna one day take care of me and these kids the right way. I love you. You're gonna be like, what? You ain't calling no dog no more. Something different, but don't use these words. I think that's what's killing the atmosphere. All these negative words, and we stamping everybody, and everybody walk around like superstars in wrong names. So we just need to cut that out and just, do something else. So I'm gonna let y'all go around the room if you want to add some more things. Start with you, Ron. I mean, anything. Come to the show. Nothing. Okay, come on.
Let's look at it like this. And I'm gonna say this.
Oh, here we go. No, go ahead.
And I was thinking about, when I was raising my kids, I really do believe that it's important that you say the right words to people. I believe that your words are seeds.
Wow.
And that they are sown in your heart. And after a while, after a period of time, they will germinate, they will grow, and you will reap a harvest based on the words that you sow. So if I'm telling my son that he can do absolutely anything, that there are no limitations in him, the sky is the limit in terms of who he can be and what he can achieve, that is what he will do. Why will he do that? Because those are the seeds that I sowed. And so it's in the same regard that I am in a relationship with who I love, and I sow those seeds in her life. You're the best. You're beautiful. You're gorgeous. You're so faithful. You're just wonderful. Right. And if I sow those seeds, not only do they give life, but they'll come back to me.
Right.
Okay, so we want them not to call us dogs anymore, right?
Right.
How about this? How about I challenge you with this? How about we sow into them and see what comes back?
I like that idea better, Adam.
You know what I'm saying?
I like your idea better than Charles. I like his idea better.
I like to back that up too. I like to back that up. I gotta back it up because I've been through a lot, and it took me a long time to get to understand that I had to be a leader. Well, not a leader. I needed to be a better leader.
Right.
Because I know how my dad, my mom raised me.
Right.
How do men learn to be better leaders? Everyone wants to be a better woman. You can be a boyfriend, you can be a husband, but how can you become a better husband? You first have to take the position of leadership. And the woman can either lift him up, or tear him down, because she has the privilege to be next to that king and see his weaks and strengths, and likewise the man.
Right.
So for me, I didn't have anybody to say, this is how you lead a family.
Wow.
And that takes a lot of training.
Trial and error.
It takes trial and error, and it takes a lot of strength, it takes a lot of knowledge. So I had to read books, I had to ask, I had to do all these things, and first we have to seek mentors. It's like women have to seek mentors too.
That's right.
And relationships, unfortunately, are one of the biggest things that we could ever try to conquer, because it involves kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why it's one of the toughest things. I remember Farrakhan had said something, said the reason why the woman challenges you is because she needs to test you to see if you can have the fortitude to protect her children.
Oh, wow.
So I think it's innate for a woman to test him and to challenge a man. But I think with time and trust, she has to learn to trust him by his actions and performance of leadership. He said, baby, I told you I was going to do it. You know what I'm saying?
It's something about coming through that works for the woman and the man, because men love to be the champion of their woman. You know what I'm saying? So it's something about delivering that's just amazing, especially when both parties, when the woman said, baby, you did it, thank you, and the guy's like, okay, if he's humble, he stay here and he's appreciative, and it can go a long way, you know.
Yeah, I did just think of something that I wanted to add, and that is that I think that the biggest lie ever told is sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Yeah.
I think because that's not true. Words are very
Well,
hurtful.
yeah, absolutely, and they stick in your psyche, they stick
And
in
they
your psyche.
stay.
Yeah,
They
that's it.
stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Anything else, Natalie, that's on you?
Oh, Charles. You know I can go on and on and on and on and on and on. I don't really have any closing thoughts. I just think that you know, people that don't commit to stuff in their own personal lives typically don't commit in relationships either, because they're not a committal person.
Yeah.
So I think that we have to, you know, be introspective and look at who we are in the package we're presenting, and then search for our mates accordingly. So if you know that you are a hot, bumbling mess, then you gotta get that together before you start your search. It's just not fair to be out here dating reckless like
It's
that.
not.
It's just
It's
not.
not.
So I guess that would be my tidbit on the table, like, you know, look inside,
Right.
get yourself together, and then try to date. Because there's too many people out here just attempting to date people they shouldn't be trying to date until they get their lives together.
And I would say on the closing note, for the men, men rarely disclose truth. Women simply discover it, right? So I would say we as men, we need to be honest and sow positive seeds into women so we can be ready to receive that great return. Again, this is your host, Charles Dixon. This is Love, Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio, coming to you live via Urban Broadcast Media. And we will see you next week. All right, and we out.
Peace. Peace.
Great show.
Yeah, good job. How about that?